What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 23 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're talking all things strategy items, how to get them, what they do, the best ones in the game right now. It's going to be a long video, so sit down, relax. We're going to cover everything that you need to know about strategy items. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you like it, if it helps you out, make sure to go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Shows a lot of support on the channel, helps the videos get noticed. Also, if you're brand new here, you're searching around YouTube for MUT 23 content, whether it's how to make coins, how to get free players, how to build your ultimate team, you found the right channel for everything. Stay a while, click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on as well so you guys are alerted when we drop additional videos. Let's get right on into it. So much to cover in this video. We're going to talk about what strategy items do, how to get them, and of course the best ones to be using right now. So if you take a look at my team, you're going to notice that my top 3 players all have their overall in blue, and I know some of this is very like basic stuff to a lot of you that have been playing this game mode for a while. You probably already know this, but we want to cover all bases and have this video be useful for everybody watching it. But strategy items are one of a couple different ways that you can boost the overall for your players, and that's basically boosting attributes on cards at specific positions, and those boosts can increase the overall. So anytime you see somebody with a blue overall, it's because it's boosted, and it's not always because of strategy items. It can also be boosted from legend chem or another team chem. There's multiple ways, but right now we're talking strategy items. And if you go over to your lineup and the strategy tab, this is where you're going to equip these items. So you have offensive and defensive strategy items. You have a team affinity item, which is going to basically affect all of the players for that specific team. And then there's also a program item, which is usually going to be based off of a promo. As of right now, currently, as I'm making this video, we don't really have one to use, but these are the current strategy items that I have, and we'll get into more detail on why I'm using these and what they boost and how you can get special things and hidden boosts on your team. So a lot to cover on that, but that's the gist of what strategy items are going to do. Now let's talk about how you earn these. I would say there are 5 different ways that you can get strategy items in MUT 23. Some will be more useful than others. Number 1 is going to be via field passes. So currently at this moment, the Season 3 field pass gives you a fantasy pack where you get to pick one of your choice, and then also there's additional strategy items in here. For the most part, they're not very useful at this point in the year. Maybe if you're a beginner or just picking up the game, you can, and they are free at the end of the day. There's also one weekly or bi-weekly, I should say, in the competitive pass. So every other week when we get a brand new competitive pass early on in the reward path here, you're going to get a random rare strategy item. We're going to talk about the difference between uncommon, common, rare, epic, and legendary. We'll get you all covered on that. So number 1 spot is going to be getting them via field passes. Number 2 is completing your daily objectives, and more times than not, you're going to get a non-useful strategy item, but there will be ways that you can make it useful or kind of roll upwards and exchange it upwards. And also, there's so many other things that you would want to be doing your dailies for. It's always going to be worth it. Now, if you don't know how to complete your daily objectives, you need to record 200 offensive yards, purchase a pack, and complete a set. Doing those 3 things will give you a coin quick sell amount up to 25,000 coins, and this can be done each and every day, resets at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And number 2 is going to give you a random strategy item. In most cases, you're going to get a silver or what we call common, but you can build those upwards to other higher items. The 3rd way is going to be purchasing packs to get strategy items, and if you go into the store under select offers and scroll all the way over to the right, there are 2 different packs that you can buy. Number 1, a random strategy item, which is going to cost you 4,000 coins, and you can get anything from a silver, which we refer to as a common, all the way up to a legendary, which we're going to refer to as a gold. And then we have the rare plus strategy item pack, which is 40,000 coins, obviously a lot more expensive. This is either going to give you a rare, an epic, or a legendary. Option 4 for strategy items is just flat out buying them off of the auction house. The best way to filter through those is using your keyword to search for the specific one that you want, and then also going over to quality, and you're going to see here you have common, uncommon, epic, rare, and legendary. So you can sort by all legendary items, and you're going to see them appear on the auction house. Those are the highest tiered strategy items in the game right now, so they're going to cost a little bit more. And then finally, the 5th and final way is going to be through item sets. And remember, we talked about getting like the lower overall tiered items, the silvers and whatnot. Well, if you go to your program filter under item sets, you go to core team items, you're going to see a bunch of different exchange options here. So you have 5 different types of strategy items, and we're going to refer to these by colors going forward. So you have your common, which are going to be silvers, okay? You have your uncommon, which are going to be greens. You have rare, which are going to be blues. You have epics, which are going to be purples. And then finally, legendaries, legendaries, which are going to be golds. And you can see there's a handful of those options I just read to you within this item exchange section under core team items. So basically, to build out a green, which is an uncommon, you can put 6 silvers into this set and it's going to give you a random green. So what I like to do is, as I collect silvers, and you know, they're not the best in the game obviously, but as we get them, we can put them into the set and eventually turn them into a green item. Now, greens aren't very useful anymore either at this point, but once we get 4 greens, we can put them into this set, the rare strategy item, and we can turn them into a blue. So again, 6 silvers equals 1 green, 4 greens equals 1 blue, and then after that, the conversion gets a lot easier. You can take your blues, which are rare strategy items, and you can take 2 of those and build out a purple. So purples are going to be considered epics, and epics are usable right now. They're not the worst, and they're fairly inexpensive, but legendaries are definitely the way to go. They're going to max out and give you the best boosts, and we're going to show you the best in the game right now. We won't cover epics in too much detail as far as like which ones to go after, because I much rather you save your coin and just go get the best of the best rather than buying, you know, the less expensive ones, but the ones that aren't going to do much and you're going to need to get more to get better boosts. So again, there are the different types, and we have various exchange sets that you can build these through, and of course you can get them all of the other ways that we just mentioned. I want to use this MUT.gg article for a lot of this video, and like I said, we're going to focus on legendary strategy items because they are the best in the game. Here is a list of all of the offensive strategy items in the game that are legendary and also what they boost. Now, as far as the best ones in the game, a lot of it is going to be based off of your playing style. I think without a doubt, if I surveyed the entire community, the most common answer for the best offensive legendary strategy item would probably be Sprinter, which is going to be for your halfbacks, wide receivers, and quarterbacks, and it's going to boost +3 to acceleration, +2 to agility, +2 to change of direction, and +2 to break tackle. Now, there are no items in the game that are going to boost your speed. This is going to be the closest one to it, and therefore that's why a lot of people are using this item, but it's also the most expensive in the game right now. The item that I'm using, and I definitely think is a top 3 in the game right now, is going to be Over the Top, which is kind of in the middle of your screen here, and you're going to see on wide receivers and quarterbacks, it's going to boost +3 to deep route running, so that helps the wide receivers, +3 to catch, obviously it helps them as well, +1 to release, and then +1 to throw power and deep accuracy. That's going to help out your quarterback. For a while, the Let It Rip strategy item, before it was even legendary, was a pretty good one and still is. It's going to give you +3 throw power to your quarterback, and then you get +3 impact blocking to your entire offensive line, and also +3 to your deep throw accuracy. This is one I have been using prior to today for a very long time on my quarterback and offensive line. Some of the other ones you can look at, like Deep Route Specialist, we have Reel It In, or Reel In I should say, and then Route Tree are some things that are going to help route running, catching, and things of that nature on your wide receivers and tight ends. But as we move closer to the end of the year, those types of attributes are already going to be boosted up pretty high on these skill position players because we're getting closer and closer to 99 overall cards. In the future, you're probably going to see more of the like trenches, like the offensive line abilities and strategy items be more useful within the game because those things aren't going to be boosted up to 99 all the time, whereas on the skill position players they are. So it's up to you on which one you want to use, and of course, like I said earlier, it's going to be really based on your playing style, but I would say as of right now on offense, Sprinter is definitely going to be a top 3, Over the Top is going to be up there, and also Let It Rip. Now on defense, there's a lot of different options, and I think by far, to me, the best 2 are going to be Slot Specialist, which is not on your screen. There it is. So Slot Specialist is going to give you +3 to zone coverage, +3 to man, +2 to press, and +1 to tackle, and that's going to be all of your defensive backs. So that's cornerbacks and safeties. Ball Hawk is also very good and pretty similar, where it's going to give you zone and man coverage, +4 to man, +3 to zone. It gives you +1 to jump and +1 to spec catch. I prefer having the press upgrade over the jump and spectacular catch on my defensive players, so that's why I would choose Slot Specialist over Ball Hawk. That one, if I didn't say it a moment ago, also impacts your safeties and cornerbacks. Bull Rush is a very good one if you believe in pass rush and you want to boost up those attributes on your entire defensive line. So that's defensive ends and defensive tackles, plus your outside linebackers. So left and right outside linebackers, +4 to power move, +2 to finesse move, +2 to block shed, and +1 +1 to impact block. Those are some really key, I shouldn't say some, those are the key components to getting a good pass rush in the game, and those are some pretty crazy boosts on them. The positional group that I wouldn't really focus too much on here are going to be middle linebackers when it comes to these strategy items, and that's just kind of the meta right now, the play style. They just don't have a big impact in the game for the most part. If they do for you, you can ignore my advice there. I'm just kind of speaking in general terms and what's more popular to be used. There's also an in the zone and a man-to-man strategy item. So in the zone gives you +4 to zone, man-to-man gives you +4 to man coverage, but when you look at slot specialists, you get +3 to each of them versus those being kind of separate. So that's why I would prefer that. And those are all of your defensive legendary abilities, or I'm sorry, strategy items in the game right now. Now with the legendary specifically, you can actually get an additional boost on the card that's outside of what you see either on this list right here and what we saw on the offensive side or what's on the front of the card. So I just want to kind of show you here, for example, the slot specialist strategy item. You can see right on the face of the card, +3 zone, +3 man coverage, +2 to press, and +1 to tackle. But if you look to the left, right where it says chemistries, I want you to ignore the first part for a moment where it says blitz. Under that it says slot specialist, boosts all of your defensive backs. That is basically, you know, kind of reiterating what's on the front of the card. But if we go back to that first one, there is a special boost, and these are, I don't want to say interchangeable, but you can kind of customize them. You have to maybe pay more than you will for others, but there's an additional boost that these cards are giving you based off of that second chemistry, and in this case on this card, the blitz one. So if you look, they're called chem boosts, and here is kind of the legend for them. If you see that blitz icon on a legendary strategy item, it's gonna +1 finesse move to all of your defensive line. So again, if we look at this specific strategy item, the slot specialist, it's giving you all of the zone, the man, the press, and the tackle, but by having that blitz icon, it's also giving you +1 to finesse move for your defensive line. But there are multiple slot specialist items out there on the auction house. So let me explain a little bit further on what I mean. Remember, we talked about searching for items, specifically strategy items on the auction house. We did our quality to legendary, and we used the word search here and put the word slot in. So we're seeing a bunch of different slot specialist strategy items on the auction house, and if we open up just one of them, you're going to see that the icon on the right part of the card art, and I know that in some situations if you're watching this on a phone you're not going to be able to see it as well. We'll tab over to equipables. You're going to see that this one has a finesse move. It's like a feather on there. So the slot specialist remains. It's going to plus the zone, the man, the press, and the tackle, but the finesse feather, that feather icon, is going to boost something on your defensive line, and I'll tell you what that something is. We're going to use that legend on MUT.gg in a moment, but I want to go back and kind of just scroll through and point out and stress and reiterate the fact that all of these slot specialist items on the auction house, unfortunately I think I just clicked another one with a feather, a lot of these are different, so you need to not only pay attention to what you're buying if you're going to go out and buy one, but also if you happen to pull one of these, pay attention to what you're selling, because some of these are going to go for more than others. So here is a slot specialist, and again, if I go to that equipable screen, we're going to see that it boosts all of the defensive backs, and the boost that you're getting is what exactly on the card, but then also you have this drive icon, and it says boost all of your offensive line. Again, what that is, we're going to show you in a moment from MUT.gg, but let me just show you a third example. We'll scroll down, and the price ranges vary from 150K all the way up to 250 and whatnot. Here is another one, slot specialist. You're going to get all of those zone, man, press, and tackle boosts, but also it has the strong arm icon on here that says boost all of the quarterbacks. I know off the top of my head, that's going to boost throwing power to your quarterback. So for this one specifically, you're basically getting a bunch of defensive boosts, but also you're getting a special offensive boost when it comes to throwing power. So even though this is going in your defensive strategy slot on your team strategy section of your lineup, it's essentially affecting both sides of the ball. So if we go back over to MUT.gg and scroll down, and I will link this article down below in the comment section as a pinned comment, you can see what each of these little icons do. And I don't want to go through and talk about each and every one of them, but remember we saw that drive icon. That's going to boost your entire offensive line, and it's going to boost the pass block power. I will show you specifically what I have on my team, but I'm pretty sure if I'm going off of memory here, I have the slot specialist item, and mine has this fake symbol on it, which is boosting +1 throw power to my quarterback. So we're taking care of, you know, the defensive boost with that item, but also on the other side throwing over there a +1 throw power. And it's going to work the same for the offensive strategy items as well. They both have either an offensive or defensive icon, but essentially you can take an offensive strategy item that boosts a bunch of things on offense, like that over-the-top item I've talked about a few times in the video, and it can have, for example, if we scroll down here, the lock icon, and the lock icon is going to boost +1 man coverage to your entire secondary. I'm sorry, your entire cornerback core. I'm pretty sure with my over-the-top item, if I scroll down even further here, I have the zone icon, which is this one at the bottom, and that's +1ing zone to all of my cornerbacks on my team. So I have my slot specialist, which is boosting +3 to zone, and then I have my offensive strategy item, which is over the top, and because my over the top has this zone symbol, I'm actually getting +4 to zone to all of my cornerbacks. So using this as your guide is very important to see exactly what it boosts, because it doesn't tell you that in game. It just tells you what positional group gets boosted. And obviously some of the better ones here, if we scroll through them again really quickly, are going to be zone, are going to be throw power. Acceleration is a good one. So if you find an item with this little, man with the cloud of dust behind him, that's going to boost +1 to acceleration to halfback, wide receiver, and quarterback. That's more than likely going to be a more expensive one. The slot icon, which looks like, like a quarter going into a slot machine here, is going to give you +1 to zone. That might be the one I have, but you saw the one earlier at the bottom. I'll scroll back down here, was zone to all of your cornerbacks, whereas that slot one, and I'm pretty sure that's the one I have now that I think about it, actually does +1 zone coverage to your entire defensive backs. So that's not just cornerbacks, but also safeties. And like I said, you can scroll through these and all of them. I'm always looking for like throw power, man coverage, zone coverage, and then anything that affects your defensive line. We showed you that one earlier with the block. There's one with block shed. We have one with pursue. There was one with the finesse move, the bull rush one, or the bull icon. So a big common misconception is that if you have a legendary item on offense and on defense, the symbols on the cards have to match, and that's actually not the case when it comes to legendary strategy items. I know it's very hard to see, but if you look on this legendary strategy item, which is slot specialist, that strong arm icon says ×2 on it. You need ×2 of these to take care of that boost that I was just showing you, and in this case, it's going to be throwing power. Now, on an epic strategy item, it doesn't give you the ×2, it only gives you ×1. If you can't afford legendary strategy items, I totally get it. I would recommend saving your coin and saving up for them rather than using these epic ones, but if you use an epic one, you have to match the symbols. And what I mean by that is if you use this one on offense, and I'm just picking a random one here, it has this, icon where it looks like a guy is kind of playing hopscotch or jumping. It actually says hops on it. If you wanted to boost the hops on the middle linebacker, free safety, and strong safety, you're going to have this hops icon on your offensive strategy item if it's epic, which it is right here on offense. And then we would also have to go on defense and find one with that same symbol, because you need 2. And on the legendary items, that symbol has a ×2. On the epics, it does not. And that's why you need to match them. So you need to match on anything that's not a legendary. So anything that's purple or below that, you need to find matching symbols. Anything that's legendary, and that's the highest that it can get, you don't need matching symbols, and you can actually get double the boost, one on offense and one on defense. So let's finish up the video and talk about the specific items that I have on my team, and we'll show you the boosts that they are causing. Of course, you have the team affinity item, which one more time here is going to boost by 5, in this case with a legendary eagles, or it's going to add 5 eagles to my team. So that's going to help me towards my count of either 40 or 50. Remember, 40 gets you +1 speed, 50 of the same team gets you +2, and I got 40 currently on my team. So not only does it help me with that, but it also adds 1 to impact blocking, catching, awareness, acceleration, and throw power. I'm pretty confident that these boosts are all going to be the same no matter what team you go after. It's just the cost of the item is going to cost more depending on the team and the popularity of that team. So Eagles is a pretty popular one right now. I bought this one early on, so I've had it for a while, and obviously it's not going anywhere. But as far as the offensive and defensive strategy items go, and I know it's going to be pretty difficult to see here, with the offensive one, I have the over-the-top item, and it's very hard to see the icon that's on it here, but the one that I purchased is the slot version of it. So if we just go over to our chemistries on the right here, you're going to see that I have the slot specialist strategy item, and that's not to be confused with the slot. And remember, I said it's ×2, so because it's a legendary, this slot tier 1 is giving me +1 to zone coverage. So this is coming from my offensive strategy item, and I'm getting +1 zone from it. And then if I go to my defensive one here, and again, it's very difficult to see the icons, but I have that icon where it's like one full person and then another person next to them with dotted lines on the outside. If I go back over, you're going to see that that one is called fake. And it's 2 out of 2 because it's coming from a legendary strategy item, and legendaries automatically give you ×2. If these were epics, it would only say 1 out of 2, and that's why we would need those symbols to match. And with that fake one, it's going to give me +1 throw power to all of the quarterbacks on the team. So even though this is a defensive strategy item, I'm getting a +1 to throw power from it to add to my QBs. So on defense, I'm getting a +3 to zone and a +3 to man from this specific item, but because I have that slot icon on my offensive strategy item, it's giving me another +1 to zone because that's the specific one that I purchased. And that's why I said earlier, pay attention to the one that you're buying, because you want to buy one with an icon. Like, focus on the, you know, the immediate boost, the boost that's right on the front of the card, but the secondary boost based on whatever icon is on that, and you're going to use this, you know, this guide for what icons do what. Pay attention to what you're buying, and what you want to boost is kind of up to you, but like I recommended earlier, defensive line abilities are really good. Zone, man coverage, things like that are great. Throw power is going to be really good. Catching and route running is going to be good for your skill position players. But I have +4 to zone and then +3 to man coverage. So if I go over to my defense, you know, you can see that Gilmore is a 98 overall. And if I show you the attributes on the card, you're going to see that they hold true over there as well. We got +3 to the man coverage, which bumps that up to 99, and then +4 to zone, which also bumps that up to 99 as well. So those items have made this card one of the best in the game. And we mentioned it earlier, you know, very soon we're going to start to see 98 and 99 overall cards that are going to have stock, you know, man and zone at like 97, 98, and even 99. That's when those strategy items are going to kind of shift, and the ones that you're going to want to be using are going to be more focused probably on the offensive and defensive line, because these skill position players are going to be just so juiced and maxed out. So hopefully, I know it was a lot of information. I hope I was able to explain it as clear as possible here, but at the end of the day, you want to focus on getting legendary strategy items. We kind of pointed out the best 2 or best 3 from each side of the ball, and then whatever one you buy, make sure you're buying one that has a pretty good icon on it that's going to secondary boost something else, whether it's block shed, catching traffic, or whatever else is, you know, on this website. And again, that's going to be linked down below in the comment section as a pinned comment, so you guys can use that for your reference. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.